Shut up, listen up, everybody, what up? Gonna put it in a podcast, boost, what's up? We talk, we laugh, we sing, we dance, we'll do anything if you give us a chance. We'll play one time, it'll help us out. All truth, no lies, no, it's never a doubt. If you like rants, tirades, and honest opinions, we shoot from the hip and we hear with precision. Give us one chance to play Opinion Bros podcast.
Hello, and welcome to a special episode of Los Scary Bros. October. Yeah. Yeah. um, so October has finally arrived, and it's a special time for us because Halloween is coming. I love Halloween. I'm sure you love Halloween.
I do. Look forward to this time just because it gives me an excuse to watch like my horror movies. I mean, not that I don't watch horror movies when it's not like October, but it just gives you that extra incentive. I love pumpkins, I like putting out the pumpkins and yeah, I mean, I think Halloween is probably my favorite time, like seasonal holiday, followed by like Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, I love it all. I love the movies, the decorations, the costumes, um, and it's just great fun. I think the only thing that really, really messes it up is the weather, but hopefully we have a good, not so cold, and even if it's cold, like I'll take that. But the rain, I don't want any
I think
rain or snow.
yeah,
Um,
that's the killer when you're having Halloween in Chicago in the Midwest. It's always the effing rain or the snow. It's always freezing. It kind of sucks that everybody tries to go out in their costumes and they're wearing
they got to
heavy
cover
coats
it
over.
up. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and luckily I think we never dealt with that because since Papi always made our costumes like they were made out of like sweaters and stuff already.
Yeah.
So they were already kind of like insulated and they were warm. Um, Also, they looked better than everybody else's costumes because everybody costumes, and our dad was able to like make us like Batman the animated series, Batman and Robin costumes, and we always I think looked pretty cool back then.
Yeah, and now not anymore.
Yeah.
uh,
Now we
but
go buy stuff.
speaking of back then, um, we just wanted to get together and start October right. So here's we wanted to talk about some scary stories, and I think you have some scary stories you wanted to share.
Yeah, I mean, they're like true scary stories. They're not even like one might. There's a few that might be like supernatural because it's. I've gotten to the point. I grew up always believing like in the supernatural. I always thought ghosts were real, aliens were real. You know, basically everything that Buffy and the Winchester Bros would fight. I always thought that those they were out there. We haven't seen them yet. You know, you just had to look at the right places and um. But yeah, I had one like I had like maybe we'll see how far we get into it. But one of them, I had one story which isn't supernatural, which I thought it was kind of a funny story because it deals with like childhood fears and that when you're an adult and how it comes to visit you. Um, but yeah, I mean, hopefully, I reached out to a couple of our like friends and coworkers and whatever, and I was like, hey, maybe going forward, maybe we can do a little bit more, maybe each week. And I told them that we would either read if they wanted to write something down and we would read their story. And then if they wanted to use their names or not, it's up to them, whatever. Or if they wanted to be on the podcast and they can just kind of recount their encounters and stuff. Because I don't know, there's something about being scared that I like.
Of
I don't
course.
know why,
I mean,
but
there's just well, I'm just interrupting you, but
no,
I
yeah,
mean,
no, go.
it brings out that emotion, when
Yeah.
as an adult, you grow really accustomed to things and you normalize everything. Oh, that's just this, that's just that. And I think for me, being scared is like it's the unknown. I don't
Yeah.
know everything. I'm 30 something years old and I still don't know, is the boogeyman real? Could that get me?
Yeah.
I mean, I think of that episode from The Simpsons when there's that they uncover that angel in the rock or something, and
Yeah.
Lisa is the only one that, oh, it doesn't exist, it's not real, and all this and that. And but when that angel gets lifted up into the sky, she grips Marge's hand, and
Yeah.
she makes a comment on that, like, even though you didn't believe, you were gripping my hand really hard. And yeah, like, you can convince yourself as much as you want that, oh, this is that and this is how the world works, but there something comes along the way and tells you, hey, you don't know everything.
No, I mean, there's I think, and we've seen things, and it doesn't have to be, again, it doesn't have to be like supernatural. Like, it doesn't have to be some freaking Dracula guy, like, we're not gonna bump into someone and we're like, oh my god, that guy doesn't have a reflection. Um, but I would say, even though it might have cooled down on the supernatural stuff, I would say, like, I believe there's monsters in the world. I mean, well, an example is, I just finished watching that Dahmer show on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
If you guys haven't seen it, oh man, it's good. Like, it's messed up, and it's just like this guy. Jeffrey Dahmer was when he was around when we were kids, Betty, and like we were. This was like in the early '90s, so we were still young, and like we didn't really grasp what it was. Like, I think they would make jokes about them on like The Simpsons, or I think Adam's Family, when they're trading like cards, and they're like, "Hey, what you got? I got a John Wayne Gacy. Oh yeah, I got a
Oh
Jeffrey Dahmer." And like, we're
yeah.
laughing, but we don't understand what the joke is, and but what he did horrific things, and it's like, there are monsters out there. They happen to be human.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, but that's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about like things that scared us, whether it's been when we were kids, something as adults. Like, and I don't know, I just always enjoyed talking about like just scary things that happen, because I grew up on horror movies. We both grew up on horror movies. They were readily available to us because people didn't card you when you go to like rent a regular movie. They didn't care. They just wanted their $4, and then you just rent 3 movies or whatever, and like, always it would always be like two horror movies and whatever romantic comedy Julia Roberts was in the '90s. But yeah, but I don't know. I mean, do you want to get down to it? Do you want to start? How do you want to do this?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we can take a quick break, and then we can get right into it. Because I'm interested to hear what you had to say. You sent me some messages earlier. I'm like, I don't know what that means. So, uh,
Yeah,
yeah, we'll see. Um, so okay, let me finish this, and then we'll be right back.
we'll be right back.
And we're back with Los Scary Bros. It sounds
Yeah.
that's how it sounds. The audio is weird. So we're testing out real quick on the side. We're testing out this new way of recording because sometimes we can't always be in person with each other. So um, if you're noticing any audio issues, that's what that's about. But we hope you bear with us. And so let's just get right to it. What are your stories?
Oh, well, just like that, just bear all in front of all
Just
these millions of people
yeah.
that listen to us every time we make a new podcast.
Yeah, like what is it?
Um,
Oh, sorry again to interrupt. I think,
no,
what, Germany? They're one of our biggest followers, I think.
you know what? Guten.
Yeah,
Wait, is that?
yeah,
So thank you for our German listeners. Before we get going, we appreciate you. Everyone who listens, we appreciate you. Thank you. I mean, you don't have to listen to us, but and half the time we're fighting and swearing anyway. But we appreciate that you find some joy in our swearing and in fighting between us.
yeah. And we're trying to swear less because you know what? it's getting a little much. But hey, if you want us to swear, just let us know.
I
You know
think
what?
it'll happen like from time to time. Like we can't help it. Like it's part of our of who we are. But we'll try to keep down. We'll do like the PG-13. You're allowed like one F word. Like,
Yeah, you
you
said that
know,
earlier already.
God dang it. Yeah. You can always leave it. But yeah, I mean it's I think that's our crutch, and that's something that we have to move past. Like we can swear. Like I heard you guys' your Game of Thrones podcast. And because apparently me and Alex were not allowed to be in the same room anymore. Those, but because he does not like Breaking Bad. But yeah, like when you guys were swearing, it was within the context of like whatever he was talking about Game of Thrones, and he was like reciting lines from the show. So
Yeah.
so I think it's fine as long as we don't go overboard with our swearing.
And speaking of swearing, what? Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know how to segue into it, but
Yeah. Well, how about we just get down to business? Well, the one I had told you was about the encounter I had a couple of years ago. So, like to prequelize this encounter
yeah,
was
put us in the mood.
so dim the light, get a little tequila next to your nightstand, and listen to my sensual voice. Albert, growing up in the '90s, we were part of that. Like our Saturday afternoons were filled with either whatever movies were playing on like Fox at that time or whatever, like Fox Saturday afternoon matinee or whatever. But there were back then Fox didn't have like shows other than like The Simpsons and Married with Children. It was barely the fourth network, if you could even call it that. So they had a lot of movies playing, and they had a lot of like craziest police chases, 74. Like they would always do all those things.
Whatever things
One of the
didn't require scripting.
yeah. And me and Albert, what we used to watch were Close Encounters and Sightings. Those were two TV shows they were like tabloid shows. They would talk about, did this guy really videotape the Loch Ness monster? Was this person probed by aliens? Like we would always watch that. And they would always show these reenactments of like this creepy light coming out through the window in the middle of the night. And they would talk about the cow mutilations and the crop circles. And we would watch this in the afternoon. I by the time night came, by the time it was time to go to bed, like I would my bed, we had bunk beds, and my bed was, we were near the window, and I would always start freaking out. My mind would always go into overdrive because all I would think about were those giant glistening black eyes that we would see, and all these people talking about how they were normal everyday people that just went to church and paid their taxes, just went to school, and then one day out of nowhere, the light came in, and then they got probed by, they got abducted by aliens and got probed in the night. So that would always be, keeping me up at night until I was finally so tired that I would just, go to sleep. And this happened for a few years where I was always scared of that because I don't know. And then we remember the movie Communion with Christopher Walken.
Yeah, I was just watching the trailer recently.
And like that movie's stupid, but like those freaking aliens, man, they're and their eyes are just so dead and like you're staring into the void. So but I couldn't help myself. I would always eat that stuff up. I would always watch that. Growing up, later on, I'm in my 30s now. This must have happened when I was 31. So again, I became one of those people. I pay my taxes. I go to work and I come back home, and we just had My ex-wife and I had just had a child, and this was probably within the first year, uh, year and a half of when she was born. So, I would always go to sleep late, because I would always, you know, uh, try to just get my stuff ready, or I would be up watching a movie, a horror movie, most likely. And I remember going to sleep, and it was like 3 in the morning, and it was dark. It's the twilight time, so it's that weird like milieu of like it's more early morning and very late at night. Everything like where you see the light coming in through your window, and it's almost that purplish kind of glow that you see. Um, and I was in the middle of a dream, and I'm a light sleeper. So any little tap, I would always like, wait, what was that? What was that? Was that the door? Was there, where's that creak coming from? And I was hearing this creak, and but then I would slip back into sleep, and then all I see is like this shining light coming out of the the little, I guess you would call it the little hallway I have, between our room and like by the bathroom. And all I see is this shadow, this like maybe 2 foot to 3 foot shadow of like long spindly arms and long spindly legs and like this oblong head. And I lost my breath. I lost my breath, and I was and 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 this was called because I could see the light coming from behind the figure. And I sleep like I was facing the doorway, because I usually face sleep in the doorway. And I see this thing coming, and like my mind shuts off, and I'm like almost feeling like I'm outside my body. And then I can hear myself screaming, but I almost like I'm on autopilot, like I'm not controlling myself. I'm on autopilot. I start freaking out because I see this thing walking towards me, to the point where I wake up Becca, because she woke up because I started screaming. And she's like, what's going on? What's going on? And I'm like, and in my head, I'm getting those flashes. I'm getting those flashes from like from Close Encounters, the Union, from every single episode that we would watch. Fire in the Sky. And it's just like, shit. They found me. They knew I was watching this whole time, and they took their time, and they finally found me. Those damn aliens finally found me. And I'm screaming, and I'm like, and Becca's trying to figure out what the hell's going on with me. And as this thing keeps walking towards, and coming into our room, and I like bait her forward, use her as a human shield as I'm clawing against the wall. And again, all of this is happening, and I'm like, part of me, I can hear like a little voice in the back, get a hold of yourself. And then the thing finally enters the room, and then it says, "Daddy," and I'm like, and it's Natalie. It's Natalie, who just woke up from a dream, and she just, she wanted someone to help her put her back into, to her crib. The little voice was Natalie. And then the lights went back on in my brain. Like I was able to go back inside my body, and I was able to like get a hold of myself. And all I see is like Natalie rubbing her eyes. And Becca's there's like, wow, like you literally threw me in front of you. Like you literally used me as a human fucking shield. And I'm like, I am so sorry. Like if it was burglar, I'd be using, I'd be protecting you. But for those, I don't know how it couldn't have been. The whole thing could not have been more than like less than a minute. But like I was in quicksand. Like the whole thing was just like prolonging itself, and it was just so embarrassing because I've never had that happen. But it must have triggered the image of like Natalie and the light and the shadow and just the time that it was, my brain must have just like it must have something must have triggered, that all that just triggered that childhood fear of the unknown, of like not knowing what's out there. No, that the things that would always watch and listen, that they would just come in and take you, to experiment on you. Like all those fears just, I guess, came back up and just gripped me. And it would like it's not ever, it hasn't happened ever since then or whatever. Usually if I hear something, whatever, wake up and I'm alert, whatever. But like I've never felt that where I'm just like outside of my body. And you know what, man, that when I think about it, that stuff still scares me. That is a childhood fear. Like I know I talked to you about it, Betty, where it's always like you don't know that one day those like extraterrestrials that we've watched and seen, those drawings about, like all that stuff. I didn't know it still affected me as like a 30-year-old man, but apparently it did. So that was one of those things where it's like it's not, but it's the idea, it's the thought, the possibility, like that Lisa moment where she grabs Marge. It's like she, for a second, she didn't know. Maybe it was an angel. Maybe there was something supernatural about that stuff. Like that's what it was. It was exactly that. Like for I entertained the idea that there was an extraterrestrial in my house, and Natalie, like I've told this to Natalie a bunch of times, and she'll bring it up. She doesn't let me live it down. She's like, Dad, do you remember the time where you thought I was an alien and I was gonna hurt you? And I'm like, yeah. And Becca, Becca's she'll never pass up the chance of like telling someone, oh yeah, like he threw me in front of him, like to probed or whatever. Like yeah, but it's that irrational fear where you don't know. We can't be 100% certain of what or what is not out there. The universe is humongous and limitless. So it was just one of those things where it's everything just came together. It's just the being late at night, the aliens, and yeah, it was just something that's oh my god, I can still remember myself clawing at the wall, like my mouth open agape, trying to like get words out, and I just couldn't, and hopefully I don't ever have to feel that feeling again. But that was one of those little like scary stories, that a scary encounter. So but yeah.
I mean, yeah, that I can tell you I still have dreams. I still have they still freak me out. If it's a ghost, okay, whatever, but aliens, that's no. They know, and they know we're talking about them right now. But
they're gonna come back. I'm gonna freak out later tonight.
Yeah.
So.
But I think that was great to share, and I think we'll stop right here and continue with another story for tomorrow.
All right, sounds good.
But so thank you for joining us on our Halloween marathon. We'll see how this goes. This is the first time we're attempting something like this.
Yeah, like I said, hopefully I reached out to a bunch of people, so hopefully they'll tell us their scary encounters. I've had some other ones that that I can't explain. So we can bring those up. I'm interested to hear from you. And yeah, I mean, and hopefully we'll also try to do some as many horror movies reviews as we can. Hopefully we'll be doing other movie reviews. Black Adam comes out later
Oh
this
yeah.
month, so hopefully
Yeah, I mean, we're
um
planning, horror movies, music. Maybe we can throw some video game horror streams on Twitch. But yeah, we're gonna try. So we hope
yeah.
you enjoy what we put out there. And yeah, if you want to participate in telling us the scary stories, because like we said, this is one of our favorite times of the year. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah, reach out to us. We're easy to reach out to. I mean, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. If you want to write something to us for us to read, we will do that. If you want to tell us yourself, we can set that up. So hopefully, yeah, we'll have some people tell their stories, either through using us as their avatars to talk about their experience, or maybe they'll just say that they're gonna do it and then they won't, and then we fill the other time with other things.
Yeah.
So, thank you guys for listening, and hopefully we'll have some more.
All right. See you guys. Thank you.
All right, see ya. Bye.
Bye.